and you couldn't do otherwise. It's made with color pencils, you know, feutre. Ah, here we go. Shush.
Witam Państwa serdecznie. Zapewne Nikolas się już przedstawił, więc Państwo wiecie, z kim mamy do czynienia. To jest just short announcement. Czy ktoś z Państwa nie operuje językiem angielskim? Pytam, bo dla zapewnienia pewnego flow byśmy chętnie zostali przy angielskim, ale oczywiście mogę również tłumaczyć swoje pytania i odpowiedzi. Proszę się tak opowiedzieć. Zostajemy przy angielskim, czy przechodzimy na wersję tłumaczoną? Możemy zostać przy angielskim, tak? So we'll stick to English then.
Yes,
because
good idea.
Everyone understands, and that'll be
okay.
More comfortable.
If you don't understand, raise your hand.
Yeah, then we will just translate it.
Okay.
For the better flow then. So we are hosting Nicolasem Wildem, who recently became an author on Polish market. He was just published by Team of Comics. Yep. And the book is called, what's the name?
In Polish?
Yeah, you can try.
Yeah, I just need to read it actually. So,
because Nicolas is reading Polish very well.
Yes.
And we will let him read the title. What you can say in Polish?
Wiosna.
Oh, that's great.
Do roboty.
Do roboty, yeah.
Na zdrowie.
Na zdrowie. That was helpful yesterday.
Yeah, and probably tonight also. And today is Wiosna, so
it's the first day.
Yes, first day of Wiosna. Taką milci Zaratustra.
Brawa. Good then. So I did read the book already. Right. Witamy Państwa, bardzo nam miło. I did read the book, and I have several questions. But first, it would be nice to know if that's the first book of yours, or it's because we don't exactly know you and your works here in Poland yet.
Yeah.
So it would be very nice to hear more about chronology.
In terms of chronology, I wanted to start very far away with this.
That's your...
Yes, that's one of my first comics book I did when I was a kid. And I was telling the story of my teddy bear. Okay. That's him here.
Your teddy?
Yeah, my teddy bear. Because I made up the story of how he came to France, what happened to him before. So he's escaping from the circus truck because of an accident.
Okay.
And many things happen, but maybe and this work is not published yet.
It's not published yet?
No, I don't think it will. And
would it remain hidden in your...
Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, that's
archives
probably,
or...
Well, so far I think that's the best thing I ever did. You know, I'm very proud of my teddy bear stories.
What is he saying here?
Vite dans la jungle. Quick, let's move to the jungle.
Quick, let's move to the jungle.
And quicker, plus vite. And then
they board the ship?
Yeah, because it's written jungle takes the boat 1,359 kilometers.
Oh, that's far away.
And so the teddy bear goes in the boat without knowing there's people inside. A teddy bear.
What with the lion? I don't get it.
The lion? What does it say?
No, where did he come from?
Oh, from the truck, from the circus truck. There's the elephant, the tiger, everybody.
Elephant is here.
Yes.
The tiger and the lion. How old were you?
I think I was 8 years old.
8 years old.
So back then, like doing comics book was a way to build another world, you know, to escape from reality.
Oh, that's really curious because you are I think the second person here in this room who's saying the comic books were an escape, a kind of escapism for them from the reality.
Yeah.
But the one who told it to us yesterday was Zbigniew Kasprzak, and that was like, you know, deep Soviet times, communistic times in Poland. So I could imagine that's something you would like to escape from.
No, I just wanted to escape from boredness, you know, when you're a kid. From being bored.
From being bored, okay.
When you don't know what to do, you play with Lego or whatever. You draw, you make up stories, you hide in the wood. But later on, I did that.
So that was the first book of yours?
Oh, that's the fifth published in France.
That's number 5.
Yeah, but the two first, they haven't reached their audience, really. So the first one was a fiction. It was called The Executionist.
Do we have any slides?
No.
Okay.
I don't have a transition for this. Well, I'll show you later.
Okay.
And after, I used to work in Afghanistan 10 years ago, and I did a chronics about life in Kabul.
Okay, so let's just make it in order. You were working in Afghanistan as who?
As a spy for the American government.
As a spy for American government,
No.
okay. That's something I could imagine. And
if that was true, I will have to kill you.
and and all of them also.
Yeah, actually.
Sorry.
Sorry, the building
Shouldn't have
is going to collapse now.
Okay, then, so you went to Kabul to...
I was working as a cartoonist in Kabul.
For Kabul newspapers? Or
no, for NGOs mainly, for UNICEF, for UNMACA, for the government of...
But you didn't draw Mahomet?
No, that was not the kind of thing, it wasn't a good thing to do.
Not a very good idea.
No, but I remember actually when, well, that's a big debate we can have maybe, when the first time the caricature were published in France, I was living in Afghanistan back then, and for 1 week we couldn't leave the house because there was a riot in the streets and said like, oh, don't go out, and plus me being a cartoonist was like in a very awkward situation. So
what was the year when you went to Kabul?
It was 2005, 2007.
2005 till 2007.
Yes.
Full 2 years.
Yes, roughly.
Roughly, yeah.
Roughly.
Rough.
And we use in our communication agency we use cartoon and illustration to talk to people who don't know how to read. You know, it's some kind of maybe I can show you some.
So it's a wordless cartoons without any text.
Yes, how to address people about issue regarding like danger of mines, you know.
Okay, to avoid the fields with the mines.
So we communicate with very sketchy, very simple images.
Show us.
I will.
So that was like not only a work, but kind of a mission too. Would you describe it as an important thing to do? Yeah.
Yes. And we did other things, like we were working for the election in Afghanistan to explain what is democracy and why it's good for you.
Okay, so like these comics were like didactical, yeah? To teach people,
totally.
To tell them, okay, how the democracy works and how the election works.
Yes, I think my files are a bit messy, so I'm not sure I have what I want to talk about.
Okay.
So this is some sketches I made from Afghanistan. This is a mix between photo and drawings.
So that's what you were doing in your free time?
Yes, in my free time.
So just observing what's around and portraying people, and this is more cartoon style.
That's actually samples of my comics book.
Sorry, please?
That's a sample from the comics book I made called Kabul Disco.
Kabul Disco, that was the title.
Yeah, so I lived in Afghanistan, I was doing comics book like to explain things to Afghan, and after I did a comics book to explain to the French audience what I did, some kind of mise en abîme.
So that was the first one that was published in French.
It's not available yet in Poland, but I have great hope it will be translated.
So why did the Polish publisher decided to start with the latest book?
I don't know. I should ask him. That's a good question. I think the last one can be read as a one-shot book. And Kabul Disco is a 3-book series. And
a 3-book series.
And the third one is not finished yet.
Okay, so you're in progress with that.
Yeah, and the third book takes place today, and it tells the story of somebody else who used to live in Afghanistan. So it's a work I do together with a journalist. And it's not finished because I'm a slow worker. It's not enough Dora Botte.
Yeah, but I think the books are quite fat. So
yeah, also yes, indeed.
So is it true you are speaking Farsi?
Oh, sure, I can pretend.
Really? So just 2 years in Afghanistan and
Well, I know very basic Farsi, like polite formulas or...
But you are, according to this book that I read, you
Yes.
are able to speak Persian language. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay.
Ask me anything in Persian.
Yeah, you are serious or not? Because I'm just curious. You're
Well,
like,
no, I forget a little bit, but most of the sentence I can say Roshamaden, or I can Chiholdori.
so you generally
Nauruz,
understand it.
Well, basic conversation.
You're able to communicate with Persian people.
Yes.
Because
but,
this book is
no.
taking place in Iran. The whole
Yes.
story is placed in Iran. And it's an autobiography book. The main character is Nicholas himself. And when I met him like 2 days ago, I thought like, oh, it's a nice guy, very friendly and funny and
You are mistaking.
yes, and I was deeply mistaken because this is some kind of Indiana Jones inside of this and being,
Yeah, well, I don't have a wisp. I don't jump on trains. But
yeah, but you do like very courageous things, meeting some
wow.
dangerous people and, really jumping into action.
Have you read the same book?
Well, yeah, I was quite surprised. I mean, I'm traveling a lot, but
Well, actually, in Iran, it's very easy to travel in Iran. People are very friendly, and you don't have a sense of danger, really. Maybe that's me being foolish, but
this is just an ignorant comic, drawer who.
Yeah, I'm just completely lunatic, and I don't know. But sometimes, when you are writing about your voyage, when you are reporting about where you go, what you do, you want to taste things. You want bad things to happen to you.
You want bad things to happen to you?
Somehow.
A little
so you have
bad.
the pleasure of talking about it.
Okay.
Oh, guess what happened to me in Iran? It was awful. It's funniest to talk about bad things than good things. So sometimes you put yourself in situation.
So let's say like exotic things, maybe not bad, but something that will be interesting for readers later.
Yeah, or sometimes you put you have a little radar and you say, maybe something is happening. I should go there.
A little tension.
You meet people
in
you
the
don't
story.
know. They invite you to the house. You go and.
Because there's a scene in the book when someone is inviting you somewhere for something, and you're thinking like, I think you didn't understand him.
No, because
correctly.
I'm not so fluent in Farsi.
So you thought he's inviting me for a tea, I think. And when you came to the place, it happened that it's an opium smoking saloon, and you said, oh, how could I forget this word for opium?
But Indiana Jones is not smoking opium. In America, it's not.
It's not allowed.
No. Yeah, well, actually, it was funny because in Afghanistan, it's a little joke from the last book. We were working on a campaign against opium, against the danger of drugs, because it's a big thing in Afghanistan. So we did posters, like educative materials to help people stopping opium trade and opium consumption. And I never took opium in Afghanistan. And it was fun to end up in Iran and to have opium that come from Afghanistan. It was some kind of loop.
Okay, so you were tracing back to your previous book.
Yes, so it's a clin d'œil. What do you say?
Yeah, blinking your eye.
A blink to, yes.
Okay, to the readers. But unfortunately, we don't know the previous books, so...
No, but it's not that important. You can understand without...
It is just a running joke, a side thing.
Also, it's to force people to buy the other books. You put a little scene on the last book, Asterix, sometimes.
So tell us more about the story, because how exactly... I mean, just what is not ruining the lecture of the book, just...
At the end, the
tell
main
us.
character...
No. I didn't finish yet. Don't tell it to me.
So it started like a bit randomly, I've been to Iran once before, in 2007, and I wanted to go back to Iran, but I didn't really know when and why, and I've met that girl, Sofia Yazdani. Actually, she was...
Did you really met her like in a book, like
No.
totally by accident, or?
I sort of met her by accident, but in the book there's a little filter of fiction to make the story more dynamic. So sometimes I enhance some situation.
So you slightly, because here on the back of the book you can find a note informing that the book is based on facts.
Yes.
On actual events.
Mm-mm.
But you are sometimes changing them a little to make them more, let's say, fluent or dramatic? Or
yes, of course. I think if I haven't done that, it will be more boring. But to the actual fact I'm using, I try not to change them by respect for the characters. But the beginning of the book, I created a situation where I meet that woman in a square where she's helping an Afghan refugee and so on. It's like a mix of many things that happen in my life, but I squeeze to have them, not to spend too much time explaining too many things. Sometimes fiction helps you to compact reality. And I think most of the good fictions are a compilation of many reality, actual events. So for me, it's not a problem to mix fiction and reality. I know sometimes some people are like, oh, we really want to know if it's really true or not. And for me, every story is true. Every story has its own truth by itself, and it doesn't have to be true or fiction. It has to be a good story. That's the main important thing.
Would you consider your book as a classical Francophonian, autobiographical comic book?
No. I use the code of biography because I am the narrator in the book, so the story goes through me, through my eyes. But in that one, I'm not the main character. But through my voyage and my trips, I am the link between the other events, like the trial, the story of the Afghan. So it's like it's fake biography. Well, I do those things I actually did, but it's not about me. It's more about taking the reader with me. Like, hey, come with me. Let's go together. I will tell you something. It's more like an invitation, a link between the reader and the story. Some kind of.
So because the closest thing we have on the market is probably Guy Delisle comic books.
Guy Delisle.
Yeah, was that pronounced correctly?
Yeah, well, Guy Delisle.
Guy Delisle, yeah, the same guy basically. And
Guy Delisle is more about doing chronics. He really talks about his life, like day one this happened. That's something I did more in Kabul Disco, for instance.
And frankly speaking, it's a little boring.
Oh.
And in the same time, you're doing adventures here, and the hat and the whip and everything.
Yeah. But actually, sometimes with chronics, if you say, okay, I will spend 3 months in that place and I will write every day what happened to me. If nothing happened to you, it's a bit, maybe sometimes you make voyage or trips and nothing happens. And sometimes too many things happen. It's difficult to calculate.
You seem to be lucky to really be in the middle of events.
Yep.
How many people are meeting randomly a daughter of recently killed, leader of a cult? Of Zarathustrians.
Well, yeah, I have a sixth sense for that kind of meetings.
That's for sure. That was what was my impression when I was reading that.
Actually, I was very lucky to meet with Sofia, and she was very happy me writing about her father and sharing that story. So she really helped me to go through the process of writing the book.
Was that book published in Iran?
No.
Is it even possible from the political point of view and a social point of view?
I don't really know. I was in contact with a Persian editor, but he's having digital. He does digital books you can download on the internet.
So this is the only possible way
right now
to publish this kind of books in Iran.
And also the people who would read comics book in Iran, they would belong to a certain kind of, it's a niche. Not everybody will, and those people, they would read French or English. But I really want to have a Farsi translation. That would be nice.
I'm asking because there's a lot of criticism on Ayatollahs here.
Oh no, not that much, is it?
Well, I mean, it could be seen wrong from the point of view of the Iran Persian government. So
indeed, yeah, but
you're glorifying Shah from Iran, Shah of Iran. What's the name of Shah?
The Shah.
Reza Pahlavi, yeah, that's the name.
Pahlavi, yeah.
You have this character in the taxi who's saying like, I really like Shah and...
Yeah, I miss him. But after you have...
I'm missing Shah, he was a holy man, and that's not something that would be very well seen.
Hear, but there's another taxi driver that says the opposite later.
Okay.
Yeah, he said, oh, I really like Ayatollah Khomeini. And so, yeah, taxi drivers everywhere, they are a good source of information, and to have the temperature of a country. You talk with taxi drivers, and especially in Iran, they are very good into geopolitics. They really they have an opinion about everything.
If you speak Farsi.
Yes, or if you have somebody with you who translate, or if they sort of speak a bit of English, French. Or...
But are they not afraid about, speaking about such subjects, such matters as political views?
You don't really know. Maybe they believe you are tourist, and whatever will happen between you and them will stay in the cab. And some of them, maybe they are working for the government, and they are trying they are tasting you, so they are creating situation like criticizing the government to see how you react. And if you say, "Oh, you're right, your government it sucks. You should go in the street and riot," and they will report to the police.
So you have to pass kind of a test.
Yes, some taxi drivers they have to report to the police when there are foreigners in their cab. So sometimes you should be careful about what you say, and the best way is just to say, "Oh yeah, I don't really know about geopolitics. I'm just here for holidays, and I like Iranian food, blah blah blah."
Would you consider yourself as a journalist?
Not really.
A reporter then?
But I'm using true stories to make something out of it, but it's not 100% true. First, I wrote a lot about my own emotions, so it's very subjective. Journalists usually they wouldn't share their own point of view. They try to be very neutral, and they wouldn't use the first. They wouldn't say I went there. Say there this happened. So when you say
more objective,
this is my point of view, this is how I understand things, you cannot really pretend to be neutral.
You're involved, so you're an observer that is involved in an actual event, so you have your own opinion, so you're not objective, you're subjective.
I really like geopolitics and history of this part of the world, so every time I have a chance I try to slide some notion of geopolitics to inform the reader, this happened, it's important.
So, why did you decide to do that book? I mean, you've met interesting people, you took part in interesting events, but was that enough to convince yourself to make a book out of it?
Yes, sometimes.
Because you had to add a completely new passage to the book, the one with the second part, let's say, which you were not involved in personally, so...
Yeah, but actually, when I went to Iran, so there's two big parts, as you said, the trip in Iran, and after the trial that takes place a year after. When I went to Iran, I said, what I've learned about Zoroastrianism is interesting, but how could I make a book out of it? Should I make something very more like carnet de voyage, something more informative, or should I try to find one story to tell? And after, when I heard about the father of Sophia who died, I said, there is something here. There's like a plot, like a Da Vinci Code, Zoroastrian version. So I decided to go to the trial with the idea of using the trial to tell the story, sort of a trial story, And but when I went to Iran the first time, I didn't know I will make a story. But once I had the idea in my mind, the skeleton, I start to investigate and read about Zoroastrianism and meet with people, so they will share their memories of the father of Sophia.
So what is the general situation of Zoroastrians in Iran for the moment?
For the moment, it's all right. It's for 100 years they've been a bit persecuted. There are some laws. For instance, they couldn't own a business, or they couldn't ride a car. They had to ride a donkey or things like that. And if you have Zoroastrian kids, if one of them married with a Muslim, he has to convert to Islam.
So they were generally oppressed.
Yes, but
by the government and the rest of the society.
But not in a way that Daesh is oppressing people, you know. So it was not like a direct torture, or it was more like
a pressure.
Hmm?
A pressure.
A pressure?
Yeah, like.
Yeah, pressure. Pressure. Yes.
So how many Zarathustrians live in Iran for the moment?
Sorry?
How many of them live in Iran for the moment?
Well, I've lost track, maybe 200,000?
200,000.
Or 100,000.
Okay.
But there's a big diaspora in India since like 1,000 years. The party living in Bombay, they come from Iran. And then you have a diaspora in America. There's also Zoroastrians. There used to be a lot in Zanzibar. And some little pockets. There's some in Paris, some in London. Maybe there's one or two in Poland. I don't know.
We don't know. Czy
Any
wiedzą,
Zoroastrian in the room?
czy Państwo się orientują, czy
No.
jacyś Zaratustrianie w Polsce funkcjonują? Czy taki w ogóle odłam
Do you
religijny?
have a lot of Iranians in Poland or not really? Or?
I'm not sure, czy Państwo się orientują, czy jacyś Persowie mieszkają w Krakowie na przykład? This man knows one person in Rzeszów, but it's quite far from here, like 300 kilometers.
Also, there's a lot of young people, the young Iranians, I would say they are Zoroastrian today, even if they are not. It's like they're claiming heritage. Like being a Zoroastrian is like typical. It means like in France we say nos ancêtres les Gaulois, like the Gaulish people are our ancestors, you know.
What kind of people?
Like Asterix and Obelix, you know.
I don't speak French, I'm sorry, but...
Asterix, no?
Asterix, okay, so you mean Gauls, or...
Gauls, Gaulois,
Galowie, mówimy o Galach, jak sądzę, tyle pamiętam z Asterixa.
And then we say today we are Gaulish, Gaulois, whatever you say. It's a lie because... whatever.
It's a lie.
It's a lie, but it's identity...
You don't feel like a member of Asterix pack?
I don't know. I didn't track my roots so far, but there are so many people coming in France.
It will be like Nicolasem Wildem. I think so.
Right. I do eat a lot of food, and I smoke Gaulois cigarettes, which is a good start.
That may mean something.
I think we are out of topic anyway.
So, just slightly to
yeah, so
make some fun.
Lots of people are claiming like Zoroastrianism is like being Iranian without... it's a way of being proud to be Iranian without supporting their government, because the government is a bit tough and they impose a certain way of practicing religion, a way of living. And
so we could say it's kind of a parallel identity.
Yes, or the root identity. So some people convert back to Zoroastrism because they disagree with the government.
Just to show the resistance.
Yeah, but
against the government.
They wouldn't advertise it. They will do it like underground.
Okay.
And a lot of Zoroastrian celebrations are still happening today. Like today is Nowruz, is Zoroastrian New Year.
Today?
Yeah.
Like today? Exactly
yeah,
today?
It's the first day of...
Proszę Państwa, dziś jest pierwszy dzień roku zaratustrańskiego. Możemy sobie złożyć życzenia.
Yes, what a coincidence.
Yeah, it is.
And my book was released exactly 3 years ago. On
the same day?
Yeah, the same day, on Nowruz, on the New Year.
Because you asked me yesterday when this book exactly was published in Poland. Yeah. And I told you that's the first day it's being available.
Okay.
So it's like exactly 3 years because...
Gloops. There is... And yeah, and so Nowruz was a Zoroastrian celebration, but it's still the New Year in Iran today. Even though the religion has changed to Islam, they still practice...
an like, old calendar.
Yes, like Christmas used to be like a pagan celebration before Christianism. And for this celebration, that's what you put on your table. You put some items like garlic, apples, vinegar, and every part of those things is a symbol of good life or strength, of wisdom.
And what I've learned from your book, a piece of this set was previously a wine.
Yes.
But since Islam is forbidding alcohol,
yeah,
they had to remove wine from
something else, from like some kind of honey or... Yeah, that's kind of fun. Was fun.
Good. So who was exactly, which character from this book was the most important for you? Which one made the biggest impact on you? Was it Sophie or?
Yes, Sophia, because she's quite a character.
She looks like one.
Yeah, she's a very tough, because her father, Cyrus, had 2 daughters only, and I think he wanted to have a son, and somehow she becomes the son. And she's an architect, so she's building things, and she's the one who opened the Zoroastrian Cultural Center in Yazd. Her father started before he died. And she's the one who organized a trip in Iran to show Zoroastrianism to her friend. So she's a engine in the story. She's like, and here, if you pay attention to the beginning, here on those 2 frames, we're in the aircraft, and Sophia said something like, I'm glad you come with us because you speak a bit of Farsi, so you can help with the translation. And that means we are both telling the story. You and me, you are some kind of a translator, and you bring that story to France or Poland.
Puścimy Państwu taką jedną książkę, bo chyba nie ma jej na widowni. Będzie można do niej trochę zajrzeć i podpatrzeć, o czym opowiadamy. Książki są dostępne na stanowisku wydawnictwa Team of Comics, ale pewnie jeszcze nikt z Państwa albo mało kto takie książki posiada. Proszę sobie zaglądać śmiało i podpatrywać. So what I just told them that they can buy a book.
Yes, please do.
So what we see here on the picture?
That's the birth of Zarathustra.
So this is the origin of the religion.
Yes.
A huge part of the story is showing the religion to the readers. Yeah? You're trying to explain what is this religion.
Yes, there is a little historical notes. And what is fun, when Zarathustra is born, he was laughing. That's the first thing he did when he came to life, he started laughing. And I really like this picture because there's not a lot of humor in many religions. Usually, humor and religion don't match so well together. But
everything is terribly serious always.
But
in Judaism, in Christianity, in Islam.
Yes, that's when.
And this is the funny religion. I mean, not funny, but filled with laughter.
It's open to humor. And that's,
it's open to humor, yeah.
That's something I like about this religion. And it was interesting to draw icons. I drew 7 frames about life of Zarathustra, and there's very little materials. There's few icons left from.
So what you're saying is that there's not a lot of iconographical materials to match with.
Yes.
Old pictures from old books or from
Yeah, I didn't find.
How old is the religion?
5,000 years old.
5,000 years old. So it's not surprising that not many artifacts survived for 5,000 years.
Indeed. So I recreated sequence from picking up some elements from what I've read, and so that's Artur Mazda is a god of Zoroastrians. And what is interesting about this god is his name is in 2 parts, Artur Mazda.
Artur Mazda.
Yeah, and one word is feminine and the other one is masculine. I don't remember which one.
Okay.
So the god is not a woman or a man, it's both.
So he's a male and female in the same time.
Which is interesting. And in Zoroastrianism, there is...
At least it's different than the other religions.
Equality between woman and man, which we don't have in Christianism or in Islam. Okay, now I have other slides of other work, but maybe you want to keep talking about...
Yeah, show us more, yeah, definitely. And this is what?
This is a landscape. It's a watercolor painting, you see, somewhere in Iran.
I think I see Nessie.
Yes. That's one of my holidays in Scotland. Okay. That's some sketches I made.
So how did you find yourself in the middle of this conflict between Islam and Zarathustrians, and being someone completely from outside?
But somehow it helps to be from outside because you don't really take part of the conflict directly. And it's not like a main conflict. But there is,
But there is a tension.
There's a tension. But in Iraq, there's a Yazidi. It's another religion which is very close to Zoroastrianism.
Chodzi o Jazydów, proszę państwa.
And they are completely they have troubles with Daesh. Daesh is like killing them and putting them in slavery and raping the women, and that's a real big tragedy right now. But Zoroastrians today, they're pretty much they're doing fine, sort of.
Would you consider your book serious or more funny, or what's the general color of the book? I mean, what could the reader expect from the book if they buy the book? They want to learn something from the book, but what's the general mood of the book?
It's not well. Everything we said was very serious, but the book is more light. It's more
optimistic.
Yes, more optimistic, because most of the people I've met are optimistic themselves, and it's more like.
But on the other hand, it's about an assassination of a person, so it's like a rather tragical event and subject.
Yes, indeed, that's the tragic part. But because he died, everything he did, everything he was thinking, have more value. It's like the concept of martyr when you die for an idea. But even though it's not very clear in the book, certainly people pay more attention to what happened before he died and what he did. So, and what he did was pretty much optimistic. He was very open to other culture, and he was like more promoting peace and understanding between religion and people.
Well, my impression was the book is rather funny, even from time to time. You're finding yourself in the situations that are a little dangerous, but on the other hand, kind of funny. So it was kind of pleasure to follow your adventures.
But I've read the books I want to read. So
sorry?
I've read books I want to read. So if I like books that are both entertaining and full of informative.
I'll switch to Polish now,
Okay, please.
Proszę Państwa, jeśli ktoś z Państwa chce zadać pytanie Nicolasowi o jego pobyt w Afganistanie, w Iranie, o jego przygody, których jeszcze Państwo nie znacie, ale pewnie poznacie wkrótce, to jest dobry moment. Widzę tam rękę z tyłu. Czy nie widzę? Nie widzę. Jeszcze mamy 10 minut, więc ja mogę jeszcze zagadywać go chwilkę o różne sprawy, ale może ktoś z Państwa chce się czegoś dowiedzieć. Nie. Well, I was trying to, make them act and ask you questions.
Okay.
But I don't know the book yet, so.
It's difficult but I can ask question about, my childhood drawing.
So show us some more.
That's another thing I do sometimes is I do illustration for text.
Like self-standing illustrations.
Yes.
Just single ones.
That was one example. It was a text about how to welcome migrants in Europe.
Welcoming immigrants in Europe.
Yes, how to...
Not very welcoming.
Yes, well, actually there is a structure, but maybe it's not totally accurate to... I don't think you need any much...
What was it? I've seen an adventure.
Yes, so that's the book I'm finishing now. It takes place in Pakistan, and that's a story I'm writing with an English journalist. That's him, and he's a real Indiana Jones,
Is that the one we know from this book?
No, that's somebody else.
Because you are meeting a British correspondent.
Oh, that was an American journalist. Yes, another one. Yes.
A different one.
Yes.
So you're like operating in this pack of international journalists and reporters and people who are always going in the middle of conflicts and.
Yeah, but it's interesting. I like maybe that's the Facebook civilization. When you meet people that tell you stories and you build some kind of network of connections. And when I write stories, I have a tendency to develop many little ideas and.
But it's not only about meeting them on Facebook and asking them questions online. It's you're also meeting some people in unexpected conditions.
Yes, that's something
For example,
I like
in
to
this
do.
book, you're meeting this American correspondent out of nowhere in the middle of the desert.
Yes, yes.
And you're both surprised because you know each other from Kabul, and you're meeting each other in Tehran or somewhere, and you're really surprised.
Yes, but that happens sometimes. Well, there's somebody in that room I've met in Austria last year, and she just happened to be here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, hello.
Hello. So he's just lucky. I would say he's just lucky. So what's this story about? It's Pakistan, yeah?
Yeah, it's a journalist who wanted to meet a big figure from the Taliban chief, and he's getting kidnapped, not in that page, but he's going to be kidnapped, and he spends 3 months kidnapped by Taliban. So we're talking about that story, for instance. And here, so because he has no picture of what happened, when we work together, I send sketches, and he describes me the places, the people, so I draw, I send through internet. And he said, no, it was more like this, a bit more like that. So about...
so you're consulting online from a distance.
That's interesting because
do they provide you with some pictures or just descriptions?
Here, many descriptions. He has pictures of before and after, but not from that specific moment. But because he spends 3 months in that room, he really knows everything, like what kind of furniture there were, and how people were dressed, and so on.
They do remember a lot.
Yeah. And after, if it doesn't fit exactly to reality, it's okay, because anyway, when you draw, it's already an interpretation.
Good.
Oh.
Show us more. We have like 5 extra minutes.
5 extra minutes? Okay.
Może ktoś z Państwa jednak chce podpytać o warsztat. O, Simeon Genew chce podpytać o warsztat. Bardzo się cieszę. There's a question from the... Tylko, że książka się nie ukazała tam. Did anyone from Iran ever contacted you about the book? I mean, was it noticed by Iranian people, the publishing? Because it was not published in Iran, but maybe some of them had access to the French edition or different editions?
Actually, I've met mainly people from the diaspora, like Iranian people living in France or in Europe or in America. And it was interesting to meet people who knew the characters I'm talking about. Some were friends with him, and some people said they really recognized him, like Sirius Yazdani, the man I'm talking about.
But were they generally, happy with the book, or?
Yes, of course. I mean, the people who contacted me.
Or someone threatened you, like Nicolasem Wildem will die because of this book.
I wished
you made about Iran.
No, it didn't happen, unfortunately. No, no, just kidding. I mean, no, I think people who didn't like it, they didn't take the time to tell me they didn't like it.
I get it. Proszę Państwa, ktoś jeszcze w sprawie podróży i reportaży z podróży, bo jednak Nicolas przebył sporą część świata podczas swoich wypraw komiksowych. Może ktoś z Państwa się pokusi kiedyś o podobną formułę.
So I can show you, this is another kind of reportage I made. So I spent 10 days in a refugee camp in Nepal.
In Nepal?
Yeah.
After the earthquake or?
Before.
Before the earthquake?
Yeah, just 1 year before.
1 year before the earthquake. So you spent like 10 days there?
Yes, and this is...
Nessie again.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Some pictures are not showing up.
It's just Scotland.
Oh well. So here, for that reportage, I mixed like some sketches or some page of comics book or some text.
Why the parts are colorful and the other parts are just black and white? Is it in progress or was it published like that?
Actually, here, so that will be a book. So you have it will bend
a spine in the middle.
It will bend like this. This is a it's written Le temps d'un dessin. It's what happened when I drew. Like I was drawing a market square here on the left, and I say every 10 minutes what happened, because it took me half an hour to draw, so I explain what happened around me.
Okay, so these are just descriptions
Yes.
of what be drawn in the end. It's just a kind of a storyboard, yeah?
Yes, because for instance, one of the ladies sitting in the middle, there was a car.
But is it in a form that you are sending it to the publisher, or just to inform him what would be the final effect, or?
That's a final. Yeah, that's a final.
It is a final
yeah.
effect. So it's just what you had no time, like you didn't want to draw some things, you just described them.
I describe the drawing, the moment of the drawing. So, for instance, here, I'm saying that when I start drawing this woman, she was still here, and then she was hit by a stone because the car went too fast.
So it moved in time.
Yes, it moved in. So I said, when I finished the drawing of the woman, she wasn't here anymore. So that's why she's fading like this. And after I explain what happened when I colorized the drawing, because I colorized the drawing back in France, like 3 months after, and I explain what happened in my kitchen, and it's funny to read, but it's not funny to explain.
So we are waiting to have it published in Poland.
Yes, maybe. And that's another little anecdote about the camp, because the camp was attacked by elephants during the night.
The camp?
Yes.
The one you were into?
Yes, it's
attacked
a camp
by the elephants in the night?
Yes,
and
yes.
you are telling me they're like not really Indiana Jones adventures.
Well, I wasn't here during the attack, no. And the elephants attack the camp because they are attracted by the smell of alcohol.
Elephants?
Yes. The elephants, when they start alcohol, they become very addicted very quickly.
Elephants?
Elephants, yes.
To alcohol?
Yeah, in Nepal.
In Nepal.
So here I explain how the villagers, what they did to avoid elephants. They did a Ganesha Panja. They prepare food for Ganesh, the god of elephants, the god of luck, to please him, so he wouldn't send the elephant to destroy the camp. It didn't work, of course, because the elephants were attracted by the donation to Ganesh, and they come to eat what they give to the god. It's a tragedy, but that's the kind of story I like to find, because they are both very bizarre and.
Again, you are lucky for this kind of stories.
Well, yeah. Well.
Dobrze. Myślę, że to powoli nasz czas do roboty.
Do roboty.
And we have to finish slowly because we are out of time. But thank you very much for coming here and telling the stories about your journeys and working methods and your book that is somewhere around, and the other books that we are waiting to be published. I think some of you would like to have your books signed now. So if you agree, we can move.
Also, if some
or just stay here. I'm not sure
maybe.
if there's anything after.
If some people, I'm also teaching comics book in Salzburg in August. It's a summer academy, so if some people want to spend 2 weeks with me and learn about comics book and so on, they can come and register. And my assistant will distribute leaflets.
Oh, great!
Oh, the friends from Salzburg. What a small world.
Super cool. So we should contact you through the address that is pointed here, yeah?
Yes, yes.
I'm not reading the course fee.
Oh, no. So don't read it.
You will read it yourself. You will read it yourself.
There's grants. It's a very nice academy, and you meet lots of people.
Super cool. So please feel free to get the leaflets and contact Nicolas to learn from him. Yes. And you can come here to get your books signed now. And each one of you that has a book already. Thank you once again, Nicolas, for coming to Krakow. It was an honor to having you here at the 5th Krakow Comic Book Festival.
Okay.